So August used to be the best month for the stock market. Then it became the worst. So let's look at some of the numbers here. So I came across this interesting article yesterday and I find it very fascinating. So from 1896 to 1986, average Dow Jones return was around 1.8%. But hear me out. After 1986, it became the average return became minus 0.8%. So it used to be the first ranked among all the months, the August. But after that time, 1986, it became the worst month. So I don't know what happened, but suddenly it became the worst month in terms of returns in the stock market. So let's dig into it a little bit more, try to understand what has happened before. Okay, all right. So this article was published yesterday, and I was reading it, and a guy named Tom Lee from Fundstrat. So what he's saying that since 1950, the average return for the month of August has been just 0.01%. It is one of the worst month in the stock as compared to the other months. So the win ratio for this month has only been around 55%, which is the lowest among all the other months. And hear me out. This is very, very interesting. Okay. The stock market underperformance in August worsens when S&P 500 has gained more than 15% through end of July. So you know what happened uh, in last month. The stock market has been going up. We have seen almost 14, 15 consecutive days in which Dow actually, you know, went up. The SPY is also doing, the S&P 500 is also doing very good in last month. So this is something interesting. So in month of August, what he's saying that if that happens, the average return falls to minus 1.4%. S&P 500's win ratio declines to 40%. Average drawdowns swells to minus 3.5%. Drawdowns happens every years. You may see small pullbacks, you may see larger pullbacks. So the drawdowns always happen. So do we take benefit from that? I don't know. Can we? Probably, yeah. We have built a tool that can help you. But let's look into our next topic here for today. Apple. So when I started looking into Apple's previous quarter sales, some of the risks that Apple has, so I use ChatGPT to do some basic research on what are the risks for Apple and few other things. It's pretty sleek here. So let's look into some of the market risks that Apple has. So earning call is on Wednesday, no, sorry, on Thursday, August 3rd. So Apple may surprise us, or the market may go down because Apple is, the quarterly results were not good. So I don't know what will happen on Thursday, but let's look into some of the risks that it has. Market saturation, one of the major risks. uh, Apple has smartphones, tablets. There's always a risk of market saturation. So competition, there's a intense competition from Samsung, Google, Microsoft, among other players. So there is a huge dependency on iPhone sales. I was reading yesterday that there are almost 1.2 to 1.4 billion iPhone users out there. And the good news is there are almost 250 million users who have not upgraded their iPhones recently. So that may happen in coming year or two. So that's a good thing for Apple. Supply chain disruption. This is huge. Geopolitical events play a huge role in how Apple companies like Apple perform, because there's a lot of dependency on uh, China and other countries where they make the parts for iPhones and other hardware. Then, of course, there are regulatory and legal challenges that Apple faces when operating in other countries. Uh, Key suppliers. So again, because of those geopolitical events, this is one of the risks that Apple has. Exchange rate fluctuation, because the Apple sells in other countries as well. So there's always that exchange rate fluctuation risk that is always there. So I was going through these different risks for Apple. So let's look into some of the key metrics. So things that we need to look into is revenue. So I was looking into what their CFO Luca was predicting for their third quarter. He was saying that it is going to probably be similar like second quarter. That's a decline of about 3%. Gross margin, another key metric that we need to look into when we are looking into earnings. So it for Apple, it provide a bit of competitive advantage, especially when the sales are declining. Diluted EPS, it has been on decline recently. So these are some of the key metrics that we need to look at when Apple announce their earnings. Now let's go beyond the numbers. Let's talk about iPhone revenue. So that is one of their flagship product, and it is on the sales. The sales is on decline. So that is something that we have to see how it is doing for this quarter. Mac revenue in prior quarter, the sales were declined. So this is another one of the key revenue generator for Apple. iPad revenue, again we saw year over year decline in the sales for iPad. Then you talk about wearables, home and accessories. So iPod, that what you call their headphone, I think that alone generates around $12 billion in revenue, which is huge, in my opinion. But again, this is one of another revenue stream that Apple has. Service revenue after iPhone, this is the second one, the second largest revenue generator for Apple. You talk about revenue from App Store, you talk about Apple Pay, Apple Music, iCloud. It is literally the second largest segment for Apple in terms of revenue. So again, you talk about services gross margin, product gross margin. So we have to look at these numbers when Apple comes out with their earnings, and I guess the analysts are predicting they are very bullish right now. But one news that came to my attention recently, and the geopolitical events play huge role in companies like Apple, how they are going to do. So US recently announced a $345 million weapons package for Taiwan. I don't know how China is gonna take that, but there may be some repercussion that we may see in terms of supply chain disruption or iPhone or Apple sales in China, especially. So I don't know how big of the impact it will have our outlier dashboard. So if I'm a trader, if I have to trade Apple, right, I'm gonna wait. Why? I'm looking at, I have down, I'm into Apple's stock detail page. The last buy call that was generated on outlier dashboard was on March 27. The price was around $162, and the most recent sell call that came was on July 13th, literally last month. The price was around 188, $190. So that was a very, very good run. Like you see all these small pullbacks, our algorithm literally ignored that. And right now I see there is a little bit downward direction in terms of investor interest in Apple stock. If I don't take a buy position, and if I miss on some of this opportunity, Apple may go up, yeah, but I'm out right now, and that may be in my benefit if I'm a trader, to wait and watch how Apple uh, this quarter revenue comes, and then I will decide whether I need to go back in or not, if I'm a trader. So let's talk about Amazon. Uh, 2022 was a really bad year for Amazon. The stock tumbled around 40%. Why? Of course, because of inflation, growing inflation, some geopolitical events. Amazon operates in multiple countries, so there is that legal challenges that it faces in other countries, supply chain dependency on third-party suppliers. Um, One of their key revenue generator is AWS. Like AWS is one of the business unit that Amazon has, which keep on growing, lot of margins. They do very good, and I believe that we may be in for a surprise for Amazon. But again, only time will tell. Thursday is their earnings date, so we will know. So this is a quick overview of what I have seen in last 3 quarters. So like Q3 2022, they missed the estimates, but last 2 quarters they have been beating the estimates in terms of the revenue. So we will see how Amazon will do this month, when they release their revenue earnings on their earning call. So we will see how Amazon is doing. I'm hoping it will go up, but if Amazon drops, if Apple drops, you are probably gonna see that August is still gonna win that race of the worst performing month among all months. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on Thursday.